Do not listen while driving, operating machinery, or doing anything that requires your full attention. Find somewhere comfortable where you can safely relax for a while. Headphones are recommended. And when you are ready, begin. There is nothing you need to achieve here, nothing you need to prove. You do not need to force yourself into trance. You do not need to clear your mind. You do not even need to know exactly what hypnosis is supposed to feel like. For the next little while, your only job is to listen. Listen to my voice. Notice the words, and allow everything else to become less important. Take a slow breath in. And breathe out. Again, a slow breath in. And let it go. One more time, breathing in and out. Good. Now allow your breathing to return to whatever rhythm feels natural. You do not need to control it. Your body already knows how to breathe, just as your heart already knows how to beat, just as your eyes know how to blink. There are so many things your body can do perfectly well without you consciously managing them. And perhaps trance can begin in much the same way. Not something you force, something you allow. Notice the surface beneath you. Feel where your body makes contact with it. Your back, your shoulders, your legs, your arms, your head. Notice that you do not have to hold all of your weight yourself. The surface beneath you can do some of that work, perhaps all of that work. Let your jaw loosen. Let your tongue rest comfortably. Allow the muscles around your eyes to soften, your forehead smoothing, your shoulders settling. And as you listen, you may notice something interesting. The more attention you give to my voice, the less attention remains for everything else. Sounds around you can remain exactly where they are. You do not need silence. Any ordinary sound can simply remind you that you are here, comfortable, safe, and listening. Thoughts may appear. That is fine. You do not need to fight them. You do not need to chase them. A thought can arrive and then leave again. And every time your attention wanders, you can simply bring it back. Back to the sound of my voice. Back to the next word. Back to listening. That is all. And every time you return, you practice focusing a little more easily. In a moment, I am going to ask you to close your eyes if they are not already closed. There is nothing dramatic about it. Just allow the eyelids to become comfortable, perhaps heavier, perhaps softer. And when it feels right, let them close. Good. Keep them closed for now, and notice how easy it is to simply leave them that way. No effort, nothing to see, nothing you need to check, just my voice. Imagine now that your attention is like a spotlight. Usually it moves everywhere. One thought, another sound, something you need to remember, something you need to plan. But right now, that spotlight can become narrower, less scattered, more focused. And the center of that focus is simply my voice. You hear a word, and then another, and another. You do not need to remember them all. You do not need to analyze every sentence. Just allow the meaning to arrive and then pass through. Listening without effort. Following without effort. Good boy. You are doing exactly what you need to do, nothing more. Now bring your attention to your hands. You do not need to move them, simply notice them. Perhaps one feels warmer than the other, perhaps heavier, perhaps lighter. Perhaps you notice a faint pulse in a fingertip, or perhaps you notice almost nothing at all. Any response is fine. Simply notice. And as you notice your hands, imagine that every exhalation allows them to become just a little heavier, not because they must, simply because they can. Heavier, looser, more comfortable. And perhaps that comfortable heaviness can begin moving upward, from the fingers, into the palms, through the wrists, and into the forearms. Nothing to force, just an idea. And you can allow your body to respond to that idea in whatever way feels natural. The arms becoming comfortably heavy, shoulders loose, chest easy, stomach soft, legs resting, thighs relaxing, calves loose, feet still. And every part of you can take from these words whatever is useful, ignoring anything that is not. Now I want you to imagine a staircase, 10 steps. You do not need to see it clearly. You may picture it, sense it, imagine the feeling of descending, or simply count along with me. At the bottom is nothing mysterious, just a deeper state of focused relaxation, a quieter place, a simpler place, a place where there is less to do. And with every number, you can allow yourself to settle a little more deeply. 10, beginning to descend. 9, a little quieter. 8, nothing to solve. 7, nothing to decide. 6, just listening. 5, halfway down, and already you may notice that time feels slightly less important. 4, letting the body settle. 3, letting thoughts slow down. 2, following my voice. And 1, at the bottom. Drop deeper. And from this point forward, during this session, whenever I say the words drop deeper, you can simply use them as a reminder to stop trying, a reminder to soften, a reminder to let your attention narrow again. Nothing automatic outside this session, nothing you need to remember later, just a simple cue for now. Drop deeper. Good. Perhaps you can notice now that there are different kinds of relaxation. There is physical relaxation, when muscles soften. And there is mental relaxation, when you stop trying to organize everything. For many men, that second kind can be harder. There is always something to plan, something to manage, something to fix, something demanding attention. But not now. For this little period of time, you do not have to manage anything. You can hand over the structure of the next few minutes to my voice. I choose the pace. I choose when we continue. You simply listen. And there can be something deeply satisfying about that. Not having to lead, not having to predict, not having to decide what happens next. You already know. You listen. I speak. You follow. Simple. Good boy. Now imagine somewhere ahead of you, a dark, quiet room. Not frightening, not empty, just calm. A room with nothing demanding your attention. Perhaps there is a comfortable chair there, perhaps a bed, perhaps simply darkness and quiet. The details do not matter. Imagine entering that space, and as you do, you can leave things outside. Work, leave it outside. Messages, leave them outside. Plans, responsibilities, decisions, tomorrow, yesterday, all outside. They will still be there later if you need them, but you do not need them now. Here, there is just this moment, this breath, this voice. Drop deeper. And now notice how little effort is actually required to listen. You do not have to create the next word. I do that. You do not have to decide what sentence comes next. I do that. You only receive, one word after another. And perhaps that gives your mind permission to become quieter, because there is nothing it needs to generate, nothing it needs to organize. Just receive, listen, follow. Good boy. In a moment, I am going to count slowly from 1 to 5. But this time, instead of becoming more alert, each number can allow your attention to become more focused, as though the outside world becomes slightly farther away while my voice becomes clearer. 1. Listening. 2. Following. 3. Settling. 4. Deeper. 5. Focused completely on the next words. Drop deeper. Now imagine that somewhere inside your mind is a volume control, not for sound, for mental noise, thoughts, planning, commentary, questions. Imagine turning that control down slightly, not off, just down. 10, 9, 8, 7, quieter. 6, 5, 4, and perhaps there is more space between thoughts now. 3, 2, 1, quiet enough. You do not need an empty mind. You only need enough quiet to notice how good it can feel, to stop trying so hard. And perhaps you are beginning to understand something important about going deeper. Depth is not something I force onto you, and it is not something you have to perform for me. Depth happens when you stop interfering, when you stop checking, when you stop asking yourself every few seconds whether you are deep enough. You simply allow yourself to experience whatever is happening. And whatever is happening right now is enough. Good boy. Now bring your attention to your breathing again. Notice how it is continued without your help. Breathing in, breathing out. And imagine that each breath out carries away one small piece of unnecessary tension. You do not need to name it. You do not need to know where it came from. Just let it go. Release. Settle. Drop deeper. And now I want you to practice something very simple. For the next few moments, do absolutely nothing. Do not try to relax. Do not try to concentrate. Do not try to go deeper. Just listen. That is it. Nothing to prove, nothing to achieve. Just my voice and the space between the words. Good boy. That feeling, that quiet absence of effort, is something you can learn. Not because you become dependent on any particular voice, not because you lose control, but because you become better at recognizing when you no longer need to exert it. You can choose to focus. You can choose to rest. You can choose to let someone else guide the structure for a while. And right now, you chose to listen. You chose to follow. And you have done it very well. Now imagine sinking just 10% deeper. No more than that. You do not need to know what 10% means. Your mind can interpret it however it likes. 10% heavier, 10% quieter, 10% less interested in everything outside this moment. Drop deeper. And another 10%. Good. Now there is nowhere else you need to go. For a few moments, just remain here, listening, breathing, resting. If a thought appears, let it appear. If it leaves, let it leave. No judgment, no effort. And every time you notice my voice again, you can simply think, there you are, and follow it back down. Drop deeper. Good boy. You may notice that those words feel different now than they did at the beginning. Perhaps they feel warmer, perhaps more rewarding. Perhaps they simply confirm that you are doing well. There is no need to make anything happen. Just notice. Good boy. You listened. You followed. You gave yourself permission to stop carrying everything for a while. That is enough. In a moment, I will begin bringing you back. There is no rush. You can return gradually, bringing back with you whatever is useful. Calmness, clarity, a quieter mind, or simply the pleasant feeling of having rested. Any temporary cues used during this session can fade naturally as you return. You remain fully yourself, clear, comfortable, in control of what you choose to do. I am going to count from 1 to 5. At 5, eyes open when you are ready, feeling awake, clear, and refreshed. 1. Beginning to notice your body again. 2. Feeling the surface beneath you, perhaps moving your fingers or toes. 3. Taking a slightly deeper breath, energy beginning to return. 4. Shoulders moving, head becoming clearer. And 5. Eyes open when you are ready, wide awake, alert, present. Take one full breath in and breathe out. Welcome back. You did well, very well. Good boy. This is Vox Dominus, and whenever you want to practice going deeper, you know where to find my voice.